So I want to revisit Mega Evolution and talk about this set, give my advice, my insights, and my investment strategy with this set. Because I've seen a lot of controversy on whether you should be buying now, whether you shouldn't. Is a set even good? Is it not? Because the cards, they came with a new rarity, all these sorts of things. So I want to talk about this set once again, show what it's been doing, and just talk about this set. And hopefully you guys find this video helpful to make your own decisions on what you want to do with this set. So this set, Mega Evolution, obviously is the start of the new era. You can see it's tagged as ME01, which is Mega Evolution 01. Previously, this was shown as to be Scarlet and Violet 11, which it's not part of Scarlet and Violet, so do understand this is a new era. Now, that is a very important thing to say because, the start of a new era, there's a lot of things that can change. And something which, in my opinion, that uncertainty is something to think about when you're investing, especially at this price point. So, Mega Evolution, this is the new era, which means the first set, this is the base set, okay? That is something to be aware of. This is a base set. This is not like the middle of an era. It's not the end of an era. This is the first set. Now, what we saw in Scarlet and Violet, right, with the first set, what was the first set very different than like the end of Scarlet and Violet and with those sets? The pull rates, right? The pull rates for the base set were very easy. Hence why the cards, the most expensive cards, $40 or $50 at the Gardevoir? The Miriam at one point was $70. Now it's like, 20 something? The pull rates were very easy. And, this is a base set. And that was in Scarlet and Violet. So if the trend continues in this set, the pull rates are easy because it's the start of a new era and pull rates are easier. Buying right now then obviously would probably not be the best idea because what happens when pull rates are super easy? Well, cards aren't very valuable. And what happens after that? Usually sealed starts to go down. That's what we saw with Journey Together. Prices were pretty high at the beginning. When people found out, hey, pull rates, the set's very small. It's not that hard to get my hits. Sealed started to go down. And that is a big factor that I think some people aren't taking into account that this is a base set, okay? This is not middle era, end of era. It's the first set. And if the trend continues where the pull rates are relatively easy, the cards aren't going to be nearly as expensive as you might think, right? Because obviously based on the booster box price, you may think that, the cards, they're probably going to be super expensive too. But, this is a base set, like I said, and from previous history, the pull rates have been pretty easy in base sets. Now, there is something else to think about. There is this new rarity they've come out with. What is it called? Mega, ultra rare, whatever it is. I don't think that's right. But whatever the new rarity is called with the gold card, right? We don't know the pull rates for that. That is a big variable we don't know about because if the pull rates for that card, it's pretty difficult. I could see then the set being maybe justified to buy at this price point, or maybe you can buy a little bit cheaper. Maybe then it's a good buy. But there's that big variable for me, which makes it a lot harder to really decide, should I be investing now? Because we don't know the pull rates. And this is a base set, previous, base set, Scarlet and Violet base, very easy pull rates. Cards are not very expensive, but we have this new rarity coming out. And this new era, we don't know how Pokemon's going to go with pull rates. Are they going to be just as hard as maybe the previous sets, like Deaths and Rivals? Maybe Pokemon wants to keep this, hype train or this really high prices. Like maybe they want to continue it. Maybe this base set is different. Maybe pull rates for IRs, SARs, and this new rarity, maybe they are just as hard as the previous sets we've been getting. I don't know. But it is worth noting that previous base sets, like Scarlet and Violet base, the pull rates have been pretty easy. So that's a big factor for me, which it's a lot of uncertainty, which at this price point, it's currently at. And this is me talking about my own investing strategy. I feel very sort of unsafe buying at this price point, especially it being this high at right now TCG player around 270. It just doesn't seem that great of a buy-in point, knowing that there's all these uncertainties. Plus, you got to think about the upside. When you start at 270 for a base set especially, what is the upside of buying right now? Possibly it doesn't go down in price. It's possible, right? But what is my upside on this base set Mega Evolution booster box? Is it going to 350? Is it going to 400? I don't know, right? It seems pretty crazy to even think about a base set going that high, but we are in uncharted territories in this market, so anything is possible. So it is very hard to say where this is going to go because it may very well, I may look back on this when this comes out and a few months later this skyrockets. It's possible, right? But this, especially being a base set, it's very hard for me to justify, yeah, you know what, guys, you should be buying at this price point. This is not, Destined Rivals, which I'll show you guys at the end here in terms of the set was hyped up for years, for like a year. It's Team Rocket based, right? Mega Evolution is not any of that. The card artworks, they look great, but like I said, the big factor is the pull rates. We don't know them. And I have heard from various channels, there's like multiple channels out there that have talked about this. Apparently there is more supply for Mega Evolution. Apparently. And also, I guess some distributions like upcharged a little bit, a few dollars, apparently too. So that's another variable you have to add into the mix. There is seemingly more supply. So it's a lot of uncertainty. And with that, buying at this price point for me is pretty risky. So I'm not buying at 270. I don't know if that sounds insane. I don't know if any channel out there is really saying you should invest at 270 because I think channels out there, if they're not even going to say that Meg or Destined Rivals was a good buy at 250, I don't know who's saying to buy this at 270. But that is why I'm not buying at this price point. Now, if I had to take a somewhat of a guess, which is probably going to be a wild guess before I guess I even guess what it is and I guess give my take, it's really hard to guess with the set with price point, but if I had to give some sort of range, right, where maybe it wouldn't be a bad buy if you can find a place selling it for this much, for me, my price point I'm okay with paying is like $200 or under. Now, I don't even think that may even be possible for me, which is why it's very possible I may not get a single box of this set, at least on pre-order. It's very possible. I didn't with Black Bull White Flare, and I feel like that might continue with this set because, I mean, we are very far out still. We're still a little bit under 2 months away from the set being released, so a lot can change in that period of time. But just looking at the market, very strong. Mega Evolution, I mean, there is controversy, but there's a large amount of people that like the set, and the new rarities and stuff definitely is going to add to some of the hype. I don't know if it'll ever go down to 200, at least for market price. And it's very hard now to find anybody selling for anything under market. So it is very possible I might miss out on pre-orders for Mega Evolution. But for me, missing out on a base set box, Mega Evolution, I'm much more okay with doing that than, for example, Destined Rivals. And even Destined Rivals, I paid like $220 a booster box. I did not pay $250, $300 for Destined Rivals. I did not do that. I pre-ordered them. Average cost is $220. And you guys, I made a video talking about that. I didn't want to miss out on the most hyped up set, Team Rocket stuff. That wasn't obvious for me to buy something. But this doesn't scream, I have to buy now at 270 or I'm going to miss it all. This set does not scream that. It's very possible I won't be able to buy them for my price point. I probably won't be able to buy them for 200. I can agree on that. But I'm much more okay missing out on Mega Evolution than Destined Rivals. And this set definitely is a lot harder to find on the market. I'm not finding it really anywhere. The other places are selling for maybe $10, $20 under market, which, I mean, this market price is already pretty insane at 270. But if you look at other places, you're not getting that much more of a deal. If you go on eBay, nobody is really selling these for any cheaper, 280, right? You go to some of these other sites like Flipside Gaming, they're selling it for 245, which is what, like $20, $25 under TCG Player, but you do have to pay for shipping, I'm pretty sure, with Flipside Gaming. I don't know if there's some amount you can buy and I guess maybe then it'll be free shipping, I'm not sure. And also there's MH Deals Plus selling for $250. I don't know their thing with shipping and tax or whatever, but it is a bit cheaper than TCG Player. Now moving on to just normal Elite Trainer boxes. Right now TCG Player has them going for 142, which is pretty ridiculous. This might, I don't know if this is the same scenario with, was it Black Bull White Flare, where this is listed as a normal Elite Trainer box, but this is the Pokemon Center one. I'm not exactly sure. But at least here, the regular Elite Trainer box shows as being 142, but they're actually not going for that much. if you go on, I think even eBay too, which I'll show here, I think you can buy them for around $90 to $100. Flipside has them for about $95 each if you buy in a set of two, which is their only option, I think. These are all just PC ETBs. I'm guessing, or these are normal ETBs. I think the PC ETBs, maybe these are actually going for 142 on TCG Player, because some people are selling them, or at least listed for this much. It looks like PC ETBs are going for 200. So that might actually be the price on TCG Player. So hey, if you want to buy them, Flipside Gaming has them for cheaper. And if you want to buy in a case quantity, you can buy them for about $92 each. So there you go. Now, lastly, just want to show you guys here Destined Rivals. Obviously, Destined Rivals, I made a video recently talking about this set. Destined Rivals has gone crazy. I did not expect this to happen, because obviously if I'd bought an average cost of $220 and I knew this was going to go to $320 in 2 months, I would have bought more than just 5. But this was unexpected, but supply ran out pretty quickly because people kept opening up the set, buying it, whatever. Card prices in the set have been extremely strong. Obviously the Team Rocket cards have a big thing to do with that. But Destined Rivals is, in my opinion, a very different set than Mega Evolution. It's Team Rocket, End of Scarlet and Violet last main set. And I don't think, people should be looking at this set to compare Mega Evolution to look at, okay, if I can buy Mega Evolution, let's say at like $250, that it's going to do the same numbers as Destined Rivals. It might, right? I'm not saying that's not possible, but the likelihood of that happening, to me, is not very high. And when you're buying at $250 for a base set, and like I mentioned the other factors with base sets, it's a lot of uncertainty and risk that I feel like isn't really needed. And therefore, I'm not buying, Mega Evolution at $250. Like I said, if I wasn't going to buy Destined Rivals or even talk about really being a great investment at $250, I don't know how I would say that for Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution could go a lot of ways depending on pull rates, and there's just too much uncertainty for me to want to spend a lot of money on this set. And especially it being a base set, I'm not as bullish on it as if I was, buying Destined Rivals. And even Destined Rivals, I was pretty cautious by only buying 5 booster boxes. So that's what I want to talk about here. You guys can let me know. Have you pre-ordered any Mega Evolution? Because I haven't. And I feel like I might not ever really pre-order any, because I did it with Black Bull White Flare, because I can't find any of these for much under market. And right now, market price for Mega Evolution, I don't feel like is a great buy. But if you think differently, you can pre-order, but we are still very far out from the set. I feel like there is no real reason to pre-order Mega Evolution right now unless you can buy them for much under market. Like I said, maybe like $200 a booster box, because other than that, we have so much time for things to change. Obviously, it could be for the worse, but booster boxes being $270 out the gate, this far out, I don't think buying now it would be the smartest thing ever. But that's just my take, and I just want to give my insights on this video on Mega Evolution. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.